Inside.
For clothes that Tristan lost. Bold 3 detergent plus fabric softener.
I'm gonna start off strong. Like you were cellmates with Jordan Belfort, the Real Wolf of Wall Street.
I sure was. Yeah, I helped him write his book.
Republican Anthony Rogers has no previous political experience. Rogers, a comedian, is well known for a podcast called The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey man, this is Tommy Chong, and right now you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol Baskin, and you are listening to The Anthony Rogers Show.
Hey y'all, this is Kevin from Candlebox. You are listening to the funny man, Anthony Rogers.
Hey, my name is Alex Sulkin, writer of Ted and Family Guy, and you're listening to The Anthony Rogers Show. Lucky you.
Hey everybody, my name is Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to Anthony Rogers Show. It's a great one.
Hey, it's your favorite comedian, Anthony Rogers, live in his tour bus, yeah. But also, you need to get a beard like this. People have been talking. They said your shit looks whack. It looks weird. They can't tell your pronouns. You need to get a beard like this right now. And the only way to do that is by using Luxurious Bastard Beard Oil. Great smell, great function, great everything. Just get this. And there's directions on how to use it if you know how to read. But use the link in the description. Go to the website. Use promo code LEGENDARY. Get a discount. Do it. Thank you. Bam.
Welcome back to your favorite show in the entire universe. My name is Anthony Rogers. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Co-host Nikki, obviously. Good. Just back podcasting. I haven't podcasted in a while. If you're watching, I appreciate everybody watching this. We have like hundreds of people already watching cross-platform. Looks like a lot on Facebook, a lot on Rumble, and YouTube's getting up there too. So I appreciate you all coming back out here. Lots happened. I appreciate everybody reaching out to me while I was not podcasting. Appreciate everybody. So now we have a big episode. So you met her on a retreat, basically, like you guys were saying?
Yeah, so a couple of friends that I made at a previous retreat, Thane and Hannah, they actually invited me to this retreat. And I honestly didn't know anything about Mariko or like her work or anything, but I just had this intuitive feeling to go, and I wanted to see my friends, and I love doing stuff like that. So I agreed to go. And it was truly a transformative experience. So I hit her up.
What is Oh, sorry. So I know what is a retreat for like poor people like myself? Like what is a retreat? Like it's like exactly, you know?
Basically, it's a gathering of people. We had like workshops throughout the day. Everyone's retreat is slightly different. Sometimes a retreat is more of like a relaxing, like go on hikes together or do like group like crafts together, but this one was more of like a self-improvement retreat and like a soul mission retreat. So a lot of what we worked on was like figuring out what it is that we want, like what it is we want to do with our life, like business wise, and just like as spiritual light workers, like how we want to bring in light and heal people, and like how to really incorporate and not transmute, but integrate the multidimensional aspects of ourselves and channel it into one like business, or not one business, but one kind of idea of how we could use all those aspects of ourselves and use that to help other people. And like something I was personally working on was trying to figure out how to mesh like the work that I've done in sex work, which I'm kind of trying to steer in a different direction. Like I'm not really interested in doing like porn and sex work as much. Like if I get booked, it's cool. I can make money, but I'm not really pursuing it. But I also want to do something spiritual. And I'm like, okay, well, like, you know, a lot of the people in the spiritual community, they're very open-minded, but there's not a lot of like sex workers in it. So I'm like, how the fuck do I like, you know, integrate both of these aspects of myself and make it a business and make money off of doing that. So that's what she helped everyone there with. So yeah.
That's badass. Yeah, just a cool intro. We'll bring her in right now. Ask the actual source, you know, like Mariko Frederick, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That intro. That was amazing. You explained it so well.
I try.
No, that was awesome. So what got you into this, I guess, like originally? Like what's your kind of what's your story?
Oh my gosh. So I died, and it kind of like I was already into like healing and stuff. I was practicing alternative medicine.
Oh.
Huh?
Elaborate on that. You died? Is that what you just fucking said?
So, I mean, that's what got me into it. So I was practicing alternative medicine. I was doing Chinese medicine, and then I had this illness thing that happened. I had a near-death experience, and that kind of like propelled me into the next thing that I'm doing now. But it didn't happen like overnight because, you know, when you die, you're like, it took a long time to get better. It wasn't like, hey, I'm great the next day. It was like a decade. And just like
How did you die? Like, sorry to interrupt, but how did you die? Like,
so I kind of sprung it on you a little bit. It's so normal to me now. I talk about it. So I don't go into like major details because it's a trigger for people. Basically, I was practicing alternative medicine, and I went to somebody practicing that turned out she didn't have a license, had never been to school, and I got injured to the point of a near-death experience. I don't talk about exactly what because people will be like, oh my God, don't do that. It's perfectly safe if you've ever been to school for it. And then on top of it, I didn't know I had contracted Lyme disease. So I was also sick with that, but I didn't know it. So after I came back, I kept getting sicker. And it was like 3.5 years later, it was in my brain, and I was having a lot of neurological issues. So it was like a decade journey to get better. But what started this, like how I got into what I'm doing now, is a couple things. Like one, I think having that near-death experience wasn't like it was more of a reminder of like me remembering who I am. And that's something that I think I took for granted, that I thought everyone sort of remembered who they were. And so I learned when I was like 19 that it's maybe unique that I stayed conscious between lifetimes. And I totally thought everyone did. And then I found out when I was like 19, talking to somebody, that people don't remember that. So fast forward, I have experience.
Lives, right?
Well, for me, it's like just normal. It was like yesterday, right? So I just, between my last life and then everything that we go through as a soul, like right now, this moment is like all one memory.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like last Tuesday to right now. It doesn't feel different and separate for me. So I thought, because I had this coming into the world, like I thought everybody knew this, and I just kind of thought when I was little that like it's taboo and we're not supposed to talk about it. So because I would bring it up and people would look at me like, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay. And I come from like, you know, I'm half Japanese, so the Japanese side of my family, I thought, oh well, we're just like, you know, there's things you don't talk about. So I was like, okay. So that's kind of where it started, was me having intact, I wouldn't even say memory, like I forgot. It's part of me.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I have this near-death experience when I'm 29, and a lot of it, yes, I got some new downloads, some new things to teach, but really it was like what they kept saying again and again is, remember who you are, go back and help people, remember who you are. And I knew what they meant, but I was still really sick for a long time, and I also didn't want to like at all tell people this story because it was you know, I hadn't heard it before, and I think I had imposter syndrome, like, who am I to share this story? You know, isn't there somebody else famous that can share the same story? Don't we all remember? And then I realized, you know, it took a long time, but I realized people maybe don't remember the details that I remember. So that's kind of what started it off. You know, that having the near-death experience and being told to go back and help people and remember who you are. And it felt like I was like living with an assignment on my soul, but I couldn't access it. So it was a struggle. Like I can make light of it now, but it was not fun. It was
sense. It's like that inner conflict.
Yeah.
So would you say that you were healers or like a teacher and a healer in past lives? So is that kind of what they were saying? Like, go back to the things that you were doing in other lifetimes, which was like helping other people. And
No,
stuff?
I was totally normal. No, I mean, I'm sure I haven't. I've had all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
No, we'll have to talk off the podcast about some of the stuff I remember. No, I was very human, very normal, and then I also remember everything in between the realms. When you leave this world and you go into the higher realms, and you're not so human, and you're not confined by this 3D reality, this limited reality that we're in, and you kind of go into the infinite and go into oneness consciousness. So I also had that experience. And so I brought all that back with me, like as a baby. I remember being a baby too, which I thought people remembered, but maybe not everybody does. So for me, it wasn't about remembering who I was as some identity of a person I've been. It was remember who you are as the infinite soul and as a higher realm being. And even more so, it doesn't matter who I am, help them remember who they are. Because that's really all that matters. Once you know who you are, it doesn't really matter. It's like, okay, now that you know and you feel and you have an understanding of who you are, a realization, now what are you going to do with that? Right?
That's awesome. I love that. That's heavy.
I remember I remember right before I was born. I don't remember any past lives though, other than like a glimpse of it, or maybe like but so you remember like all your past lives or one, or like how many past lives do you remember?
Well, so when I had the experience of, so it's kind of a longer story, but so in a nutshell, I remember everything from my last life. I remember dying. I was a man in my last life. And I remember the moment I got diagnosed and was told I was going to die. Could have been like 1,000 years ago. I felt very modern. Like I was standing on the second floor of my house. It was just a very basic brick building. And I was wearing brown linen pants and a linen shirt. And there was the guy with a cart that sold vegetables going across in front of me. And it was very like narrow streets. And we look at it now and it's like something out of a movie from like 1,000 years ago. But I felt like I was like, standing in my high rise in Manhattan. I was so modern. But I remember knowing and finding out I was going to die and didn't have that much time to live. And I had a daughter. So it was pretty devastating actually. But I remember the process of dying. And I remember how familiar it was and I wasn't afraid. And then after I died, so there's so much that happened. When I died, I went through what we all have, which is a life review. And I had that in this life too, when I died when I was 29. But in that life, it was pretty unique because they showed me what I could have done, who I would have been, had I basically, the way I put it, like lived the assignment of my soul or lived from my soul. And I didn't. And they kept kind of like my intuition kept telling me to listen to my intuition, do things the way my intuition told me. But if you think about it, like in my defense, because I kept saying no. And I realized this recently, like I always felt bad because I was like, no. But like literally 1,000 years ago, if you're listening to voices in your head, you're probably getting like burned at the stake. Like it wasn't a good idea. So I was like adamantly against this. And I was very successful with what I did. And so I kept saying no, even though the pull was like, listen to your intuition, like live from your soul. But I wouldn't do it. So when I died, they showed me how big my life could have been, how many people I could have helped had I done that. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, put me back in. I understand now. I didn't know. And, they said, you can't, you're dead and you'll be that person again. You can't go back. It's too late. So, that's what I live with, every day. And I think that's my drive to get people to wake up and live from their soul, whatever that means for them. And then from there, I went into experiencing a higher realm, the astral realm, and then another realm called the causal realm. And from there, I had this experience of being able to do a life review of all of my lifetimes.
Oh, wow.
When you asked me, Anthony, how many lifetimes, it was like, I saw all of them and the interesting thing is we don't just start off as human. We start off in we're in like the animal and plant kingdom and insect kingdom. So I got to see the perspective of like being a bug flying around. Wow. Pollinating things and being a bird and being a wolf and being people, being different incarnations of myself. And like who I am at the essence of me has always been the same. But obviously animals don't have as much drive toward consciousness, as humans do. So yeah, I kind of got to see all of them, I guess you can say.
Wow.
And so again, I thought that was normal though. Like I didn't know. I thought like everybody remembered all that stuff, so I would talk about it. And
you're like, hey, remember that time you were a bug? Yeah.
Totally.
What? Oh, you don't. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. We don't talk about that. Never mind.
It was basically me as a kid. Like, well, like the lights. Like when you turn off the lights, I see lights everywhere. So I would talk about the lights in the place that we were with all the lights, because the realm we're in are made of lights, and so I just thought people remembered that. And
wow,
when I was about 19, I honestly, it was a guy that I had a crush on, and he told me that people don't remember that, and I was like, oh no. So me wanting to fit in, being 19, I was like, okay. And then it fortunately didn't take too much longer. By the time I was 29, I had a near death, and I realized there was a lot more for me to do, but I was afraid. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be, who I just wanted to be normal my whole life. I just wanted to be like normal and fit in.
Yeah.
And so, I struggled with that for a long time. And now I'm just like, well, screw it, whatever. This is me. So this is me. This is my story. Take it, leave it. I don't care.
I feel like
it's interesting. I've never.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. You go ahead. You're fine.
I was just gonna say normal is like, I feel like if you're different, it's just another way of saying you're special. Like all the people that I met that were not normal or different, like almost like a societal label to like kind of suppress people who are tapped in, or like even just all these like labels for neurodivergency. It's like all these people with autism and ADHD, they're probably all starseeds. They're probably all souls that are higher dimensional, hypersensitive and tapped into shit, or schizophrenic, like whatever it is you want to call it. Like in other indigenous like cultures, those people are turned into the shaman, and then here they're put on a bunch of meds to make them zombies, and it's like different. It like is special, and we always look at it as like, oh, we're the outcast, but it's like we might not be able to really truly connect with other people, but that's because other people don't see and feel and experience the same shit we do. Like, and it sucks to feel like, because I've experienced that my whole life. It's just having like this black sheep syndrome, scapegoat. I started learning about scapegoat abuse, and I'm like, holy fucking shitballs! Like that is literally what I went through my entire life. Like in the narcissistic household, like it's easy for the narcissist to blame shift to the scapegoat, because the scapegoat is the one who sees the dysfunction and isn't afraid to say, hey, this isn't right. This is what the fuck is this? No, we can't fucking treat each other like this. And then that person becomes the fucking target on their back, and everyone's conditioned to follow the ringleader or the narcissist, whatever, into putting everything on that person. And then it's like you feel ostracized your whole life, and you feel like, why doesn't anyone love me? How come I can't relate to anyone? How come I'm always told this or that? Or you believe that dialogue of like, no one loves you, you're a piece of shit, you're different, like whatever. And like it's hard to relate to other people. And then on top of it, if you're spiritual and you have these like abilities, these intuitive abilities where a lot of people don't, it's like you can't even really try to sit down and have a conversation about like how you actually experience with reality without sounding crazy. Because people they can't comprehend it. It's like when you get
Hi Anthony, I'm doing great so far. It's Frankie now. Things are great so far. Weather in Sydney, Nova Scotia. It's cool outside. It was grappling out. It's like a soft snow pellets earlier today. And then weather down in Missouri this week. It's going to bring some warm temperatures and cold temperatures fighting each other in Missouri. This Thursday and Friday. It's going to bring windy conditions on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Warm air, cold air fighting each other. It's supposed to be a lot of rain next Monday in parts of Missouri and things like this. You got cold air, warm air fighting each other in Missouri as well this time of the year. And then there's going to be highways of heavy rain aiming it towards Sydney, Nova Scotia on Thursday. Then you got highways of heavy rain heading for Vancouver Island, Vancouver, British Columbia on Friday and Saturday as well. There's going to be a lot of snow up in the mountains and in the coastal areas of British Columbia up in the mountains. Then you got a whole lot of rain heading for Houston, Texas. Sunday and the Monday coming up is going to bring so much heavy rain to Houston, Texas, Arkansas, and Austin, Texas, and all those places. And it's going to head towards New Orleans, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, and all those places. Then you got another low pressure system heading towards Colorado sometime next week, all the way down to New Mexico, bringing cold air down to New Mexico and Arizona. It's going to bring lots of snow in Oklahoma next Tuesday and Wednesday, including Kansas and all those places.
Nice. So a lot of rain, a lot of snow. Is there going to be any like
like in South Central states, like a cold air heading towards New Mexico, USA.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. awesome. Thank you for the weather report. Appreciate you, bro.
I know. I was waiting to hear about California.
Yeah, let's
Down in California, got Santa Ana winds going on in California right now, causing a lot of fires. Santa Ana winds going on in California right now, triggering a lot of forest fires.
Oh, dang. Wow.
There's forest fires in California right now?
Oh, dude, there's
Lots of forest fires in California.
the whole fire season. Like
Nice.
everything catches on fire at some point. It's every fucking years too. I swear to God.
That's crazy. So that's crazy. Like, what?
Yeah.
And
That's
there's
weird to
lots
think
of
about.
cold air heading for Japan right now. Lots of cold air in Japan right now. Cold air, warm air fighting each other in Japan. And lots of snow in Sapporo, Japan as well. Then it got lots of cold air heading towards Algeria next week possible. All the way down to Algeria, Africa.
Algeria. What about Egypt? Do you know about Egypt?
Then it got Egypt dry weather. That means a possible cold weather might head towards Egypt as well. Possible. It's going to get really cold air in Turkey and all those places. Snow in Turkey and things like this. And it's going to be snow up in the mountains in southern Europe.
Dang, that's
Lots of thunderstorms going on in New South Wales, Australia, Queensland, Australia. Their summer starts on December 21st. They're causing a massive heat wave down in South Island, New Zealand right now, like down in New Zealand, Christchurch, and all those places.
Yeah. Dang, so winter. It's finally winter, huh?
It's summer in New Zealand.
Oh, except for news, obviously.
Longest day of the year in New Zealand is December 21st. That's your shortest day of the year. Their longest day of the year. Once again, in June 21st. It's our longest day of the year. It's New Zealand's shortest day of the year, June 21st.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow, so they're
What about what about China and Japan? Look what's going on there.
That means China and Japan is the shortest day of the year in Japan is December 21st, same day as us. And longest day of the year in South Africa is December 21st. So it's southern tip of Argentina and Falkland Islands, like Stanley, Falkland Islands, will be the longest day of the year, December 21st.
Wow. That's wild. I mean, it makes sense. Makes sense.
You named the next three countries I was going to ask you. It's funny. I was wondering about South Africa. I was like, do you know South Africa? Like, you're on it, man. It's like
he's probably tapped into
South Africa. Summer starts on December 21st. That's South Africa. Summer begins official. South Africa's in an unofficial summer, same way southern Chile, southern Argentina, Australia, and New Zealand, south of the equator. It's southern hemisphere unofficial summer right now. Their official summer starts on December 21st. In New Zealand, their longest day of the year is December 21st.
Nice.
What about Iceland?
That's the first
what about Iceland?
Which is like
Iceland's shortest day of the year is December 21st.
Nice.
What's the temperature right now in New Zealand? Is it warm?
It's really hot in New Zealand right now. It's daytime there right now. When it's nighttime here, it's daytime in New Zealand and China. When it's daytime here, it's nighttime there.
Hey, it makes sense. It makes sense. Love that.
And did you hear about this? And over in places like in South America, they're bringing a whole lot of rain in Rio de Janeiro right now. In July and August, that's their dry season. Rio de Janeiro, they're in the rainy season now. Indonesia, Papua New Guinea is in the rainy season. La Reunion, Mauritius Islands, Angola, and Mozambique, they're in the rainy season right now. Once again, in June and July, that's their dry season. In Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, New Caledonia, and French Polynesia, they're in the wet season right now. They're in the rainy season. And once again, in June, that's their dry season.
Nice.
India's in the dry season right now. Once again, and around their summer starts in India in April, May. Their summer comes to an end in June. That's when monsoon season begins. Once their summer ends, their monsoon season begins in India.
The monsoon. Oh, dang. Monsoon is like, it's not just rain, but like a super crazy, like kind of rainstorm? Or what is a monsoon?
A lot of rain. It's a monsoon season. Goes all the way to October. Then it dies out. After that, India has spring, summer, monsoon season, fall, and winter. India has 5 seasons.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. So wait, so monsoon season is like floods and stuff?
They get so much floods in India in July and August there because the monsoon season's there. Their summer's in April and May. Once your summer starts, their summer comes to an end.
Interesting.
How much rainfall do they get for their monsoons?
So much rain, over 1,000 millimeters of rain.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Fuck.
1,000 millimeters?
Over 1,000 millimeters of rain and over so much inches of rain in India as well because of the monsoon season. That means their summer is before our summer.
Wow.
Once our summer starts, their summer comes to an end. Once we transition into summer in June, they transition over to monsoon season at the same time.
Dang. Pretty wild.
So you're saying they have they have winter, fall, like summer, fall, like spring, all that shit, and then monsoon season is the 5th season, you're saying, that they have?
Monsoon season is
Is that what
June,
you're saying?
July, and August, and September in India.
But that's like a 5th season, you're saying? Like that counts as like a season, you're saying?
Yes.
That's
How long
crazy.
does
I
it
never heard
last?
that.
How long does the monsoon season go for?
All the way to October in India. Then it starts to transition over to fall there
But when does it start? It goes from when to October?
in June.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Jesus Christ. June to October? Wow. That was like the whole length of my last relationship. That's a long ass time. Like literally. Fuck, and that felt like a fucking minute, dude. Shit, dude. It's a long time. Yeah, I don't know if I can handle that much rain. I lived in Seattle for like part of my childhood.
And Atlantic hurricane seasons come back on June 1st, 2025. Sunday, June 1st, 2025. Atlantic hurricane season is back.
Dang. Well, better get an umbrella and some rain boots.
Hurricane season kicks up into high gear in September in the States. And Atlantic hurricane season kicks up to maximum gear on September 2025. That's when Atlantic hurricane season kicks up into high gear.
Maximum gear. That's fucking fuck.
That's a max. The Atlantic hurricane season's up to maximum gear. That means they even got the RGB lights that can change all different colors.
It's cranked up to
RGB lights get change a lot of different colors now.
Wow. That's terrifying.
Yeah, I was in one hurricane and it was just so wrong.
You're like
Everything was flowing sideways, and I was like, "How do people live here?"
No, it's like tornadoes. I'm just like, there's no fucking.
Yeah.
I've been through one tornado. I'm like, how? How are people? There's just no way. It was hailing the size of like fucking softballs. I'm like, this is no.
People live like that.
Yeah,
I feel safe
back in earlier in Vivian, South Dakota, biggest hailstorm in the world happened. And other hailstones put made holes on the ground, on the grass, and things like this. There's a hailstone size of a football in Vivian, South Dakota.
I mean, that could kill you. You could be outside and literally get hit in the head and die. Like,
oh my gosh. I've seen them
Hailstone the size of the football somewhere in South Dakota from one of the severe thunderstorms when it's really hot and humid on the near ground levels way up in the air. It's negative 90 degrees Fahrenheit way up in the air. That could cost hailstone size of the football.
wow. So it's got to be that cold.
That would do so much damage to everybody's houses and cars.
It's like a hailstone went through the roof of somebody's house. It's like somebody throwing bricks at the house during a hailstorm and smashing windows and things like this, smashing so many people's cars down in South Dakota during severe thunderstorms of hail size of the football.
Yo, that's like some apocalypse shit. I feel like that is no. I mean, the rent must be pretty fucking cheap there. Like, it's got to be like $400 for a fucking 1-bedroom apartment. No one wants to fucking live there, man. Like, fuck. That's.
Look at it. I'm showing you Charlotte Street in Sydney, Nova Scotia right now.
Oh, nice. Oh, is that who's your friend behind you? Who's that guy?
It's only a decoration. It's only a Christmas decoration.
Hey, what's up, dude? Hey, you crack nuts for a living? Lame.
It's only your Christmas decorations. They're putting decorations on Charlotte Street in Sydney right now. I can see one of the Christmas trees back there.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Hell
Christmas is coming up on December 25th. And did you hear about this? It's the last Anthony Rogers show before Christmas. It will be December 17th.
Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah.
December 17th will be the last Anthony Rogers show before Christmas because Christmas Eve is on Tuesday, December 24th.
Oh, yeah, true.
The Anthony Rogers show will be back again after New Year's.
Frankie, what's funny is you're right. What's funny is you're probably right, but you know my schedule better than me. Like you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing Thursday, and you're like, this is his schedule for the next couple weeks, and you're probably right. That's the funniest part. Like, but thank you as always for doing the weather, man. I appreciate you. We need to get back to the interview. We got a lot of stuff to cover. I mean, you're welcome to stay for it, but we gotta make sure we get back to the content of the episode.
And did you hear about that? And one more thing, gigantic hail can smash windshields like the size of the football down Vivian, South Dakota. It's like a big, huge, gigantic hailstones that can damage windshields and things like this. Damn. And did you hear about this? I'm on Threads now as Frankie MacD 1984. I'm on Threads now as well. I'm on other social media. It's like I'm on Blue Sky. It's Frankie MacD. And my ex formerly Twitter is at Frankie MacD. My Facebook is Frankie MacDonald. My Instagram is Frankie MacD 1984. My TikTok is FrankDonald1984. My Clapper is FrankDonald1984. My Twitch is FrankDonald1984. My Snapchat is FrankieMCDN. My YouTube channel is dogsandwolves, and my LinkedIn is Frankie MacDonald. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Donald. There's the Anthony Rogers Show on Tuesday, December 17, 2024. That'll be the last Anthony Rogers Show before Christmas.
Hell yeah.
Merry Christmas, Frankie.
Bro.
Everybody saying Merry Christmas in the comments.
My final interview of 2024 Anthony Rogers Show, that'll be December the 17th, 2024. The Anthony Rogers Show will be back on the first Tuesday in January 2025.
Nice.
I'll see you next Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good, bro.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for bro.
That's our autistic little man.
Oh my god, I love it. He's so cool.
I love Frankie.
He knows like everything. I was like, oh my gosh.
He might be a little socially retarded, but I'll tell you one thing: he is a smart motherfucker. He knows what's going on. Like, he's definitely like idiot savant level like intelligence when it comes to knowing the weather, knowing dates. Like
everywhere.
You can ask him like, what was the day of the week on this random date from like 20 years ago, and he'll know it. He'll literally have it like off the top of his head. It's like
that's amazing. Where does he live? He lives in Nova Scotia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Wow. That's really
he's
cool.
Huge.
We'll pop in once in a while to drop the weather. But yeah.
That's cool.
It's funny. Oh. Yeah. Anyway, so let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Well, tell us about the retreats you put on and like what how you're helping people now and like how people can work with you or like what kind of services you provide to like help people on their spiritual journey. Yada yada. Just plug yourself. You're an incredible teacher. I got so much out of the retreat. I really loved how you really worked on like the shadow aspect of our issues with like not just our soul purpose but with money, because I feel like that's a key part of like being successful is like there's all these like get rich fucking like coaching and all this bullshit, and for some people that works and that's fine, like I'm not shitting on that, but it's like they never really hit the source of like why you're not making money. It's not that you don't know how. It's not that and maybe part of it is, but I think for me personally, it's like I'm great at making money, but it's like my own like self-limiting beliefs of like I'm scared, I'm afraid of success. I struggle with like self-worth, feeling like it's safe to have money based on like past like beliefs and programs about money from like generations of just like people with like my grandparents were all immigrants and poor, like had like one pair of shoes for like a year or two, like really poor, and then both sides came into money because they invested it smartly, but like they still had these negative programmings about money. You have to, they're from like the fucking depression, so you have to pinch every penny, you can't spend any money, you got, and it's like that shit just passed down to your parents, and then your parents have these weird thoughts about money, and then they pass that down to you. They don't teach you how to manage money, they don't teach you how to do taxes, blah, you know, it goes on and on and on. And then it's like you find yourself like, I'm good at this, why the fuck, I'm spending, how come I can't manage it? How come I can't keep track of my money? How come I can't like build? And like, so long story long, I appreciate you going into depth and like, what's the word? Challenging us to like be more introspective on like those limiting beliefs and kind of where they're stemming from, to really target that before you even talked about anything about here's how we're going to manifest. Let's focus on this one. It was like, let's focus on this shadow shit first, which I really loved that. So
thanks. Yeah. To me, it's money's created. It's not earned. You don't have to trade your time for money. It's not money equals hours put in. It's how are you manifesting? What do you want? And then manifest it. And money is just a frequency. You know, I always joke and like say, it's like you can collect stamps, you can collect rubber bands. You know, people collect rubber bands and they make them into big balls. I don't know if people do that anymore, but I know that they have in the past. Or like they collect pens. Well, money is just another thing that you can collect. Like if you want it, go get it, go create it. And the same way that people find feathers or like collect pennies on the street, they're manifesting that too. And the universe isn't like, oh my gosh, I can't handle that. You want money? Oh my gosh, I can't do that. But I can find you rubber bands or like feathers or whatever. Like the universe, it's a thing. It isn't, we put so much importance on it because we're the only species that needs it to survive, right? No one's asking elephants or like squirrels to like pay rent and for their taxes. So we actually have to have money in order to survive, which is really screwed up, but it is how it is right now. And yet we believe that we can't attain it. So we put it in this cage and we lock the door and we're like, oh, money's hard to get. We can't have it. Or if we do have it, there has to be suffering, right? We have to hate our job or sacrifice something. Like there's something around money. Whereas if you decided to be like a stamp collector or like, you know, wanted succulents, like little plants that don't need much water, you can collect those all because succulents are easy, like break them and then like a new one basically grows if you just break one off. So it's kind of like, what do you want to create? What do you want in your life? Well, once you know how to manifest and you're aligned with like your truth, right? That's why I'm so into like purpose and like, who are you and what do you want to create? Now that you know who you are, like, what do you want to do with that? What sounds like fun? Because you have to have fun because money loves movement and the universe loves fun, right? There's enough gloom and doom here. Look, I've been around, I've seen a lot of it. Before I got into alternative healing, I worked in a trauma intensive care unit. So like, I've seen a lot of bad stuff. And I've been through some bad stuff. So I don't have to focus on that because I already know. But the universe really responds to what we put out there. So if you're putting out like joy and abundance and like no lack energy, just like joy and love, that's what's coming back to you. But people want to do both. They want to put out like, oh, this is what I want. At the same time, like putting out like, oh, but I'll never have it. Or, oh, if I have it, someone will take it away from me. So you're like negating what you really want. And you've got to work through all that shit, all of your negative self-talk, all of your shadow shit telling you it's not safe to have money. If you do, you're going to get robbed. You're going to get jumped. Your family's going to take it from you. You're not going to have family. They're going to hate you. You know, money is the root of all the evil. I mean, it's money doesn't even really exist. Like when I take my last breath, the one thing I can tell you for sure, money doesn't exist. It's not even real. So have at it. Have some if you want some, but don't obsess over it. Don't worship it. Like, don't make it into an ego thing. It just, if you have it, if you want it, go get some, go create it. Right. If you have a job that's not paying you enough, go get another job, or even better yet, like do what's in your soul to do. And then you'll make money doing it, because we make money, you know, and I have to qualify this by saying like, as an entrepreneur, because I get slammed for this sometimes if people are like, well, I work in a factory, and like, okay. So people who are like maybe more entrepreneurial, but even if you're working in a factory, you might do like a side thing. Like people are selling on Etsy, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's amazing. Or Amazon or whatever. So if you have that feeling like I want to create something, and it comes from an alignment of like, this is who I am. I'm not going to fucking apologize for who I am, for how gifted I am, for how talented I am, for how much I know. And then you add a link that says, this is how you can pay me. You put those together and you get really good at being you. That's how to create abundance, because the universe wants us to create something the world hasn't seen before, not just copy stuff that's already out there. So people start getting downloads and new ideas. Like Nikki, I was getting ideas of you of like, oh, and like things that you can do. And it was like, you don't have to get rid of one part of you. You want to bring all parts of you to the next level.
Yeah.
Then think about monetizing. Like, well, how can I serve people? How do I want to, like, is this something I want to charge for? And then like move from there. And we talked about how you can do different things where you bring in all aspects of yourself. And because the universe isn't wasteful, like it's not going to be like, oh yeah, that part you outgrew. Yeah, I outgrew things about me too. And I'm not going to go back, but like there's parts of me that I'm still kind of that person a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think, when we think about manifesting, whether it's a relationship or money or the next thing that you want to do, like the first step is always, you've got to be the person that can do it. And if you're trying to be the person that can't do it and the negative person that's like, oh yeah, I don't know, no one believes in me, blah, 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 I can't do it. Then like, you can't both be that person that's holding yourself back and be the person that's already done it. You got to go and like, stop apologizing for how good you are at what you do. Stop waiting for someone else to believe in you. I believe in you. Okay. There's one person. There you go. Whoever's listening, like we believe in you. Go get it done. Go do it, because life it's like kind of long and it's kind of short. It's a blink that we're here for. I always joke that like we make such a big deal out of it, but time isn't linear. All timelines are happening now. So we think past, present, future, past life, future lives, all that, but like everything is now and everything is like literally right now. So this kind of gets into different stuff, but like you can quantum jump into a different timeline of a different version of yourself who's already done the thing, right?
Yeah.
So then you don't have to wait and go, oh, well, this version of me doesn't believe in myself, but this one does. And it's going to take me this amount of time to get there. No, it doesn't. Just do this. It's like right on top of each other.
Just become that person.
Just become that person right now. Instead of thinking you have to go like this, just move it like this. And you're like, oh, I am that person.
Yeah.
Now I start behaving like that person. I start acting like that person. I start speaking like that person. And guess what? The universe is like, oh, cool. This is what you're manifesting. And then everything happens now because there is no linear time.
Right.
So yeah, I think money is important because we're the only ones that have to like pay for water and food. And then what we do is we make our soul a mission or whatever we're here to do, like a side gig. And we sometimes enter into some job that, is it kind of fucks our soul. And then you leave this world and you're like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, it's like it puts your soul in a prison. You imprisonate yourself in the matrix. Essentially, you become a worker bee.
Yeah,
like your own person, thinking for yourself, doing what you want to do. You go along and you get trapped in this narrative that you have to work for the man. You have to fucking do all this bullshit and be a slave, because that's what we've been programmed by everything: TV, music, fucking news, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like.
Generations.
Yeah, and it's
going on.
It's like we're being gaslit into thinking that like that's the only way to live. Like my sister was just talking to me about her friend's been doing research on all these loopholes on how you don't really have to ever pay for anything. Like, and like there's all these loopholes where like you could literally be on Section 8 getting free like housing for $50 and get a new apartment. Like you could do all these, you can get an EBT, you can literally have the government pay for a lot of your shit. But like, it's not like it's being like broadcasted, that information, but it's like, if you know how to hack the system, like you can actually get out of it's like, we're being gaslit into thinking that living in the matrix is the only way that we can live.
Yeah.
And like, we just blindly believe it because we think the government is telling the truth, which is probably like never the case. And that they have.
Well, it makes people feel safe, right? Like, oh, well, if I just do as I'm told, then I'm safe. And as a species, like we are tribal. We're not a lone wolf. Like we need each other to like our brains are geared to like survive and not die. Yeah. So if we believe that we will be outcast if we don't fall into the matrix, then it doesn't feel safe. Mm-hmm. And so our bodies, our minds are like, oh my gosh, I've got to go back and be with all the people because that's where I'm safe. And then, we talk about the people that are, in the matrix, but also I think that there's and becoming worker bees, but I think that there's those of us who are like creator bees. We're here to create something the world hasn't seen, and we've got to birth that. And to do that, you've got to quit apologizing for being so talented and so gifted and for being alone and for being the lone wolf or the black sheep. Like you're going to be it, and go find some other black sheep and get over yourself and go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we can't hold ourselves back over all of this anymore. Like it's kind of go time here. You know, people are aware of the Matrix, whereas 20 years ago they weren't.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the movie came out, The Matrix, but like, you know, now they're actually aware. I remember I saw that so many times. I was like,
more as in like I hear a lot more people say like we need to get out of the Matrix, as opposed to like the idea of the Matrix could be real. I think people are like almost in their soul, they know that it resonates a truth that we can't totally prove or unprove. But like even the fact that there's TED Talks, there's this hours and hours long TED Talk with like a whole board of scientists going over why it's possible we're in the Matrix. And the fact that they would even have that conversation on a platform like that just goes to show like that there's actually some serious like proof that like that's probably what we're in right now, which is pretty wild. Like,
but then again, like enlightenment is kind of the way out. And then we think of it as like, oh, that's impossible and you have to be perfect. And you don't. Once you go into oneness consciousness, like you realize you're free, because people, that's all they want is to be free. But like you already are free. Your soul is free. And then you just align with that and you're like, oh, yeah, you just wake up and you're like, oh, okay, I see the truth. And then all the stuff that's like conspiracy, like it doesn't bother you anymore because you're like, it's all good. It's people are creating stories, you know, it's fine. Have fun.
It reminds me of when I was like 13 years old and like I realized like, you know, like anytime your parent would ground you or tell you you had to be in your room, you really thought that like you couldn't leave. And then one day I was like, I could just leave. Like I could just like literally walk out the front door and just fucking leave. And it was like this crazy realization that obviously started a whole fucking downward spiral, me sneaking out and fucking rebelling. But it's this liberating. It just reminds me of this same thing where it's like there was some sort of invisible lock that was keeping me in and I couldn't just leave. And the whole time the door was unlocked.
Yeah.
Oh, shit's funny.
Exactly. That's kind of life. But I think more and more people are waking up and going, wait, I want to do my own thing. Like, I want to talk like you having your own podcast. Like you guys you're going to talk about what you're going to talk about. You're not going to apologize for it. You're not going to try to fit in. You're not going to try to do one thing or have some niche or whatever. You're just going to like talk about whatever comes up and then you'll be successful because you're living your truth. And more people need to do that.
We're pretty like balanced with our opinions about shit, but like we're so open-minded that we're willing to have anybody that's interesting, that has anything interesting to talk about. Like we've never been biased with like the type of people we have on. Like even if we have different beliefs, it's like, no, that makes a more interesting conversation. Let's talk with people with different beliefs, because if we don't, like that's one of the biggest issues I see in just society now is like, especially with politics, people are so afraid to talk about their opinions, and it's like, that's what's keeping us separated, is not expressing our opinions and being open-minded enough to see both sides of whatever it is that we're talking about, and like being able to actually like respectfully understand each other's viewpoints and have a cordial discussion about it. Like one of the first podcasts times I was on this podcast, I was talking to a scientist who was completely super atheist, but I asked him what the most interesting thing was he ever like discovered or learned about, and he basically described God. He was like, well, there's this molecule which is called the God molecule now, that is the energy holding atoms together that we can't figure out what it is or where it's coming from or where the energy is coming from. And I'm like, that sounds like a higher consciousness or a higher intelligence. Like there's, if you can't explain it, but it's in everything, like that sounds like God. And he's like, oh no, I don't believe in God. And we started having this debate, but it was interesting, and we could come to each other with like, you know, respect, but it just made for interesting conversation, because obviously like I was like, well, I mean, I think there is something bigger. I know there is, just from my experience, but like it's just, yeah, it's interesting.
And it's interesting because if you took out the word God and the preconceived idea of God, like if we erase that, you guys actually might just be agreeing.
And we were. That's what's funny, is it's like these he probably had some sort of wound like with religion or whatever, because I feel like people don't just become atheists. Like if you're going to go as far as to say that you truly know in your heart and soul that there is no God and you despise anyone who feels that way, like clearly there's something else going on there. Like something had to have happened to you that made you traumatized enough to be that angry about it and feel like you need to fucking like shove it down everyone's throat. But I mean, it's like, yeah, so it's like, so it's like I understood that and I could see that, but that's the thing is like, it's just funny that we literally were explaining the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we create drama.
That was a great episode. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I think I related a lot what you said about the business thing, like too, like being like I watched my parents, and I love my parents. I'm not shit talking or anything, but I watched them like work in cubicles their entire life, jobs they hated. And I remember being a kid, and I saw like Elvis on TV, and I'm like, I want that job. I'll take that job. You know, being Elvis sounds cooler than like working in a fucking cubicle or whatever. You know, it's like so I mean, I agree to a lot of what you're saying, like about that, like. I think you still have to work hard. You can't just be like you can't just be like a delusional retard. But you can fucking like manifest still, and you do have to do the work. Like you have to show up to work still, but you can still manifest. I think that's very important to people like to understand is that like you can't just like I mean the brain's powerful, but I mean you got to fucking do stuff with the body as well, and like you got to fucking. I think it's very important, and I think like. I couldn't show up. I was a fucking idiot in my 20s. I couldn't show up to anything. I couldn't work for anybody. I couldn't get hired at a gas station right now, probably, to be honest with you. And I'll probably be a millionaire this year. You know, it's like so it's like one of those things. Like I don't get mad that I'm poor. I don't get mad at money. I get mad I'm not a fucking millionaire. You know, I get like pissed off and I fucking work really hard. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to set up throughout the rest of my life. I can just like be a fat lazy retard and have a lot of money. You know, I think that's the goal. You know, right now it's like. It's like work really hard, then fucking be a millionaire, shave my beard, get the fuck out of here. You know, it's like that's like the goal. It's like I'm gonna be here until I'm like 40 probably, and just like at least working, and then hopefully I retire at 40. That's my goal. I got 2 years to get rich as fuck, and then I'm out. You know, I don't want to do this. It's just you know, it's like I don't want to do anything. I just want to I don't want to go to like South America and like fucking eat a bunch of food for like 25 cents and shit. You know, and while I'm a millionaire, you know, I'm gonna be rich as fuck, buying shit for nickels as a millionaire. That's my future, and that's my goal, and that's where I'm at. I'm playing pretend for a while, you know. I'm like got like fucking you know TV shows and articles and fucking podcasts, all that shit. I play pretend for a while, play it back like entertainment's fun, but like you mean I'm old. I'm fucking old. It's boring. I want to fucking just like explore the world, and I think that's the last part of it.
Because you're so creative. I think that you'll create the next thing, whatever that is. I don't think you can sit on your butt the rest of your life. I think the next download, the next idea, and so then it's not working hard. It's just doing the thing that you love. Like I don't feel like I work hard ever because I love what I do, and I'm not trading time. I mean, I actually don't work as many hours because I can't because the brain, all the stuff that I've had strokes and seizures, and my brain doesn't let me work like 40. I can't do that. But it doesn't mean I can't make be lucrative and make good money. But I do it in a smart way. So I think that there is a way to like, yes, you have to have strategy and business and all that stuff, but like, you don't have to work yourself to death. Like my parents were both blue collar workers, high school educated, you know, and they worked hard and they worked a lot. And I'm like, wow, I don't work as many hours, but I
for sure.
Yeah, I still do well. And then I think that also like you saying, you want to retire from this in 2 years? Absolutely. But I just can't see somebody with your energy and personality being like, I'm going to go sit on a beach and not do anything the rest of my life. Cause you're going to get bored and like give it a month and you're going to be like, okay, I'm ready for the next thing. And then people are going to gravitate to you too. Cause you're magnetic. So then they're not going to let you like, cause the universe loves us to participate. And if we're going to be here creating something, the universe is like, oh my God, he's willing to create. Let's keep like, do you guys get that? Where like the universe is always giving you the next idea because you're willing. And you're awake to it, and other people maybe aren't. And so then we ended up not just three, but people that are creative, we get all these new ideas, and the universe doesn't shut up because they're like, "Hey, you're participating." I don't know about you, but I get woken up like 3 o'clock in the morning with like all these ideas, and I'm like, "Shit, can I just go to sleep?" And then I end up having to like write it all down, and I'm like, "Okay, we done?"
Always when I'm trying to get sleep, then I'm like, "Why the fuck am I?" Like Nikola Tesla's being channeled through me. I don't even know how to comprehend what the fuck the information I'm trying to get. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this information? I just want to sleep. Fine.
Write it down.
Well, yeah, that part. But I'm like, yeah, definitely. Well, you know what?
I feel like
you just need to delegate more. You need to like hire more people and like just do the idea right. And then once you make your millions, hire a fucking team of people so you can't sit on the beach and like, hey, I don't know what this means, but I got this crazy idea. Here, you engineer it, you market it, you sell it. Bam. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what we're. That's what I've been doing. That's what I kind of did all day. I've been on the phone all day, and I'm setting up a sales team to do a bunch of shit. And it's boring. I don't want to tell exact business. It's fucking boring. But it's like there's like actual money's fucking boring. You know, it's not like everyone's like, man, I want to be a movie star and make all this fucking money. Like that's not how they make a lot of money. That's look, money's really boring. But no, I think like I mean I laid on a fucking couch yesterday. Like this couch right here, I laid on this fucking couch by $2,000 yesterday. So I'm like, okay, good for a day, but I need to do in like 20 a day. I need like 20 grand a day, and just keep it coming in. And then like I'm setting that up right now. I'm doing the hard part where I tell everybody what to do. I'm like, all right, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. And then the first guy made his sale, so I'm like, all right, good. And then like and then like so I'm getting it going, and another guy's telling me, I don't know. I may have made like 10 grand in sales this week so far, just off. I mean, that's not profit. But I'm saying like off of like this idea I built, and I'm like mad that it's not $1 million. Like I'm like, you mean everyone else is like, I don't deserve it. I don't know if I deserve it. I'm really scared. I'm like, I deserve fucking more. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm here. I'm like,
you need to change your attitude to being that you already have it. Instead of feeling mad you don't have it,
I do.
Like, go to sleep with the image of $1 million in your bank account and say thank you, universe. Is if you, because that's also a huge part of manifesting, is being at the frequency that you already have it. So like maybe even your anger at not having it could be pushing it away in some sense.
Yeah, maybe it'll be there. It'll be
I
there.
heard the funniest thing about money, like to treat money like an intimate relationship. And so, like,
okay.
I could hear it all going. No, like you don't want to smother it. You don't want to be like calling it all the time. Like, hi, are you there? Do you love me? Do you like you don't want to smother it, but you also don't want to like beat it away. Like, treat it with respect. Give it some space. Like, you know, it's kind of funny when you think of like treating it like a intimate relationship. You don't want to be like needy,
that is funny.
Smothering, and you don't want to push it away and be angry at it that it didn't give you enough. You know, like. Or it wasn't fast enough.
Once in a while, say, hey, babe, how you doing? Love you. Okay, see ya.
Do that every day and watch how much more will come.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
It's just it's a law of attraction, you know, gratitude and all that, but like really feeling excited about, and it's not our business how it comes. You know, it can come in a way that you're not even expecting it. If you want $1 million, cool. But then also call in $1 million by a certain date. Because I've had people saying, I want 500,000. And I look at their careers and I'm like, you've already made 500,000. Do you want 500,000 a month? Do you want 50,000 a month? Yeah. Do you want 500,000 by next January? Like, what do you want? Get specific, because the universe is like, me too. I want $1 million. And you look at your career and you're like, oh shit, I've already made $1 million. I've made two.
And the universe
over my lifetime.
Give you what you wanted.
Yeah, get specific. When do you want it by? Do you want it in increments? Do you want 50,000 a month? Do you want 100,000 a month? Like, what do you actually want?
Right.
And then by when? Do you want to start making $20,000 a day by January 1st? Are you looking to make, you know, like $1 million all of next year? Because it can come like 20,000 a month and all of a sudden you have like a, you know, $900,000 month or something happens. So it's not really your business how it comes, but you can get specific and really say what you want, because whatever you say you want, you get excited about it. The universe is like, I'm excited too, you know. But if you get dramatic and you're like, man, they're just sticking it to me and I never make anything. The universe is like, yeah, man, they're sticking it to me. I never get anything. The universe is like a parrot. So whatever you're thinking, the universe is like, yeah, you want to be a drama queen? The universe is like putting on its drama. And it's like, I'm such a drama queen.
I'm like the opposite. I feel like I'm at the opposite spectrum where like I have everything I've ever wanted. I can build whatever I want constantly. I met my favorite heroes as a kid. I met everybody I want to meet. I've done like most of the things. I'm just like at this point where I'm like bored. I'm like, what? I mean, I'm like a bored person. The next thing. And that's where I'm looking right now. I think the podcast is doing well.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't even know what my goal is. You know, I don't even know if that's what I want. I don't even know what I want to do. It's like I'm in this situation where it's like I feel like I'm very blessed, and I should be more thankful that I could just order whatever I can just do whatever I want all the time. And like literally, I could have done that even poor, but like but at the same point, it's like I don't know. I'm like old. It's like that Nirvana song. It's like teenage angst is paid off well. Now I'm bored and old. You know, that's the line. I feel like that more. I feel like that every day. I'm just like, well, I have everything I've ever wanted. I basically have literally anything I want. I mean, if I all the time, and I'm just like, I'm still fucking bored. Like I'm like, I should have dreamed bigger at 16. I should have dreamed bigger as a child, you know. So I feel my dream shouldn't have been a job. Maybe I don't know. There's certain things, you know. But I feel like I don't know. I look at it, it's like I'm not even like I know I can do whatever I want. I just don't know what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's where you get to become like another version of yourself. Or at least that's how it's been for me. Like once I reach all my goals, I'm like, cool, I'm going to become this next level version of myself. And then it's not about what do I want as much as who am I going to be and what do I want to do next and what sounds like fun. Because there's a point, you're right, where like you have enough money and then it becomes like, what do I want to do? What sounds like fun? And I always put fun first, because if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it has
yeah.
to be
No,
fun.
I agree. I make it fun for sure. I definitely have to. No, it's just crazy. It's like, no, I mean, I watched, I'm in a weird, I think we're at the end of a cycle. Like, I think my wife always tells me we're at this end of a weird cycle. So I've been looking backwards a lot, and I've been learning a lot. And I don't know why I'm talking about this, because it seems interesting to me, but I don't know if it is to other people. But I feel like I know I've been looking backwards a lot more. I went to like my high school. I went through my hometown. I drove through it, and I was like just looking at everything and remembering all those old feelings and just other things. And I was like, I grew up in a trailer park when I was a kid. My parents were very poor. My mom was 19 years old. Like, so I was very poor. So I drove through that trailer park, and like I drove through like the house I grew up in. After that, I went to my grandparents' house. I've been doing all these last minute things, and that's what I did in my dream before I was a millionaire. It's weird. That's what I did. I went really nostalgic, and I walked through all in my dream. I remember doing that. I remember going through like all these like weirdness. I've been going backwards a lot, and in doing that, like for example, Thursday. I mean, this is live, so I'm not sure what time you'll hear this, or whatever. But one of my favorite bands as a kid just hit me up like, yeah, I'll do this podcast, and I remember being in 2019, like basically being like, whoa, that'd be so fucking cool. And I'm bored booking one of my favorite bands. Like I'm just like it's weird. Like it's like if Peter Pan would have had more episodes, he would have got bored. You know, like I feel like there's only so much you could do as like a man child, and then I think my mom passed away. I became like an adult. I think like I became an adult recently, like not in years, but just an experience. Just like by being, I'm now the oldest person in my family, in my immediate family. I'm only 30 something. I'm like 38, but I'm now like the oldest person in my side of the family, as far as like my immediate family, and that's a lot of responsibility that I think like my mom always had type of thing. Where I don't know, I feel growing, and I feel bored, and I feel honest, and I feel just like I feel like all these things, and I think all my wildest dreams will happen and more because it happens constantly, and it's always happening, and like I feel like I don't know, like look at this episode. You're an author. That's fucking insane. She's like a porn star. That's fucking insane. I'm a comedian somehow. At the end of this month, December 28th, people are gonna pay $40 fucking to hear me talk for 30 minutes. And I'm just like, my mom would be like, that will never happen. You know what I mean? She's like, I wouldn't pay to fucking. People, I'm just like, I'm like, no, I'm like looking at this the whole thing. I'm like, Marilyn, you know, it's like I just feel like I don't know. You can do anything you want. I believe in manifestation heavy, and I think that's everything. I think that you have to create your own reality. You'll be subject to somebody else's if you're not creating your own reality. And I believe in everything you're saying, and I love your energy. I love that you fucking like, I don't know, you have like this inspire the uninspired kind of vibe. Like I can read energy more than words, I think, and I think that you have this like you have that energy to you. That's probably why I told you all those things. It's like you have that kind of energy. It's like that aspect of like I believe that, and that's the rant's over. Sorry about that.
Thank you. No, and I appreciate you sharing. I went through the same thing when both my parents died, and it's such a weird feeling. I kind of felt like an orphan, and I remember I went hiking by myself in the desert, and the ranger, I had to like go through this gate, and the ranger, I was mentioning it because I was really out of it. Like after my dad died, I was just kind of like, it was just weird. I was like, and my mom was on hospice, so they were both dying, and it was really weird. And then my mom died 6 months later. And then I became a mom 4 months after that. So it was just like, it was a wild ride. It was a wild 10 months. But the ranger, I mentioned, like, is this, because it was in the desert. And so it was like, I was asking, like, is it there and back? Is it a loop? Like, what is it? Because I'm not really focused. And I just said, my dad had died like 2 days ago. And she's like, and she looked at me and she goes, all grown up now. And I was like, oh, yeah,
it's true.
It's true. It happens. I was like, it's so true. It's like all of a sudden your parents die and you're like, I'm a grown up, and it doesn't really matter how old or young you are. It's like she was so spot on, like all grown up now.
I was a teenager until my mom died. I felt like mentally, I felt like I was mentally like a teenager. I basically like and everything I did was to impress her, and then I lost my audience, and now I'm like okay, like I don't care if a million people see this, to be honest with you, because my mom can't. You know, it's just one of those things. It's like it's like I try to fake it, and I try to go through it. I'm like, oh yeah, everything's cool, but it's like, dude, it's like I became like, I went through this rite of passage, and I'm like looking around in this like weird teenager land I built. I mean, I got my face on my office, on a fucking mannequin, on my hat. I built this fucking Peter Pan teenager land, and I'm just like I outgrew it. I outgrew my cicada. I cut my hair. I'm just like. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I don't know. Like this is this is crazy, and I feel like if this is boring, tell me shut the fuck up. But like, dude, like I got to a point to where like my favorite rock star as a kid, like autographed my mom's fucking like put my mom's signature on here, and I realized how far I've grown. So I've just been running forward the whole time. I've just been running forward, going at it. And I'm like like right now, like I said, I'm on a fucking podcast with a porn star and a fucking author. That's insane. You know what I mean? That's just like fucking insane. And people are watching this, and I'm just saying, like if anyone could do anything they want in the world, I'm a fucking idiot that should have been a factory worker. I fucking barely graduated high school. But I have a rock star fucking like traced my mom's signature on my fucking arm. Like a band she fucking liked, a band I like, and I'm like, I can do anything I fucking want. I'm in an old bank. My office is an old bank. I'm just like, I don't know how to say it. It's like you can do any fucking thing you want because I'm an idiot. I'm a complete idiot. And I'm doing it. You know what I mean? That's why I believe in your manifestation. Is what I'm trying to say. It's like I'm a complete fool, and I've made all my stupid dreams come true. And then I made fun of my dreams afterwards because I'm like a build a sandcastle, knock it over kind of guy. And I'm trying not to knock it over. I'm trying to just build the sandcastle and let everybody take pictures of it, you know. But it's hard not to knock it over because like that's what.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that. Oh, yeah.
Holy shit! Why is their face gone? What the fuck? Hang on, we gotta redo that. Sorry about his face. It's a long ass message. Sorry, I'm not gonna read that long ass message. I'm sorry about that, but it covered up all the faces of our fucking guests. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do that. We're not covering the guest face with that fucking thing. Sorry about that.
I currently on death row for a crime I didn't commit. Anyhow, the big guy in the next cell breathed into a dead mouse and brought him back to life, but they still took him to Old Sparky. Please pray for me. I have ordered chicken and chips as my last meal with a side order of mayonnaise. Oh my God, that's sad. Wow, that's
okay. Step one. First off, I don't believe you. Second off,
how are you on Facebook right now? Like, if you're in death row, then I mean, unless you like snuck in a phone. Wow, I mean, who knows?
Isn't that the same guy? Weird.
He's smoking crystal meth. Why? Do you want some? No, I'm just kidding.
Cool. Well, we should enough said last video. It's funny. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. We should cover more topics you have. I think we ranted into a direction that's still good, but I feel like you have a lot more information, and we could. You're welcome back to discuss like your book or other things we should have covered.
It was fun talking to you.
No, I had a great time. I'm just saying, like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love the. We covered exactly what we're meant to cover. It was perfect, and I love just like the podcast, porn star, author whole vibe. It's just, although Nikki, you're so much more than that.
Obviously,
a lot, but you have like, there's a lot.
No, she's a fucking genius. I meant from like the 16-year-old kid point of view. If you're like looking at how like, just taking it as a surface thing, like, but yeah, no, she's fucking brilliant. Way more than that. But I'm just saying, like,
amazing. I was blown away by her at the retreat when I got to really tune in. I was like, oh my God, you're amazing. And like, you know, it's funny because I have this retreat and there's so many, there's spiritual people, there's coaches, there's, you know, very conservative people, there's porn stars. I'm like, I love my fucking community. Like, I love my world I've built. This is so fun. And to say like, oh, I heard you say it's not like porn and like people that are in like sex worker industry aren't spiritual, and yet we are spirit. So is sex work spiritual? I guess it is if it's like tantric or something, but like, we are spirit. And then
that are in that line of work, but it goes a little bit against the norm. Like even with the teachers I worked with when I'd help him at the expos, like different spiritual expos, he asked me specifically not to bring it up because he was afraid of what other people would think because I was basically representing him. And so, you know, there's definitely this aspect of like, okay, well, what are people going to, and I feel like most spiritual people are pretty open-minded, which is why they're spiritual to begin with. And anyone I've told doesn't give a shit, but you know, there's still that kind of like, what's the word? Not condensation, condemnation, whatever. Association, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's that negative point of view about it.
Look down on it. Yeah.
But whatever. I don't really.
I think you have big things that you're gonna do. So I'm excited for you. Definitely. You're so talented. You have so many gifts. You're so multifaceted. And what I love about you is like there's zero judgment. And I think that like we need that in the world where people can come to you and just know that like whatever they come to you with, like there is no possibility of judgment. Unless they're like literally hurting small children or something, like there's like and even then you'll probably work them through it, but like there's just no judgment. And so I think sometimes when we don't find our place, we have to create the place. Like I never found my place. I I never belonged anywhere, even nationality wise. Like I'm half Asian, so I don't. It's interesting. Like I never felt Asian enough for my Asian people friends, and I never felt white enough for my white friends, and I'm just like in between. And so my community is very mixed. Like they're just all different races, and I love that. But I think with when you have something like the vibration that you have, I think people are going to come to you because they feel like they don't fit in anywhere. But then you create a space where everybody can fit. And I think instead of looking for a space that you fit, you should create this space the way that I did with my community. It's like everybody that is a higher realm being that, has been incarnating on different realms that are higher than Earth, like come, and they're going to be different, but they all fit. And what everybody was saying was like, they all felt like they knew each other forever. So I think you can do the same thing where like you just create a world that works for you.
People there definitely knew each other from past lives because there was an instant connection and bond that you don't get that with someone you haven't had a past life with. You know what I mean? It's like when you just feel like you've known them forever, even though you don't know them at all.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think that it'll happen with you with the way that people will feel immediately disarmed by you. Like I think you're really disarming, and you make people feel like if they don't fit in anywhere, like you're like you collect black sheep, and you're like, hey, black sheep, lone wolves, come one, come all, I got you.
God, I love that.
And then you don't try to conform them; you just let them be.
Yeah.
And like I think that's like it's so needed to have those spaces in the world where people can just be. And just wave their freak flag and be like, this is who I am, and be celebrated for it instead of feeling like they have to be small or like hide or whatever. Like it's time, So.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to plug before we end? Like your social
no, the retreats, we'll have another retreat next year. I think my book is there if anyone's interested. I have a book called Soul Priority, and it's all the details that happens in between lifetimes.
Nice.
What happens when the minute we die and before we come back. So it's my firsthand experience of what happened. And then I have a YouTube page you can follow me on, Mariko Frederick TV, where I go live and do clearings. And I've created my own modality of work called astral therapy. So there's an astral therapy on there where you can go into the higher realms with me and experience who you are as the soul. So
I love that. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have you on again. We could talk more deeply into
great.
Book and whatever else you want to talk about. So
I would love that. It was so nice to meet you, both of you. I mean, I already know you, Nikki, but like Anthony, it was cool to meet you. I was glad to like get to chat with you, and you're like forever Peter Pan now, though.
No, you feel like that, man. I feel like being successful, you feel like that. Because like
I can't hear you. What's up?
It's probably better. I'm sure. If you can't hear me, I'm sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I don't know what I said. I think I just said like you'll feel like that the more if you get like an American perception of success, it feels like that. You feel like you get older, you're just like well, I spent my youth stacking this, I guess. I don't know. No, it's a weird time. But thank you. No, I appreciate you coming on here and stuff. I appreciate Nikki. I agreed with everything you said. She's brilliant, and like you nailed it. I think she's gonna do whatever she wants to as well. And, I mean, anyway, I appreciate that, and like everybody watching, I appreciate you guys watching this. I appreciate Rumble featuring this. Without you guys, I mean, this is just delusional. It's a Zoom call without you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching this and like being and stuff like that. And thanks for being supportive of our guests and stuff. You feel free to click in the description. You can actually click to a direct link for a book on Amazon. There's a little bit more information.
If you're not a follower and you're watching, press the follow, press the like, yada yada yada. Sorry,
That's true. And unfollow me and follow her, and then we're sick of it. We're sick of being followed everywhere. But no, cool. And then December 28th, I'll be in Tulsa and in this fucking huge place. So get tickets while you can still, and I'll mumble for 30 minutes in front of you. So be impressed by smoke and mirrors and pretend that American fame is real. I'm getting out of here. Appreciate you all.
Love it. All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.